Okay, all the parts are glued to the back side on top of the wax paper. So now we got to let it dry overnight. And then we can go ahead and remove it and continue on and start to install that piece on the opposite side. So that's about it till it dries. Okay, I removed the piece that we previously glued, and now what we have is the wheel. That's the back side of the wheel, and there's the front side that is going to have to be put on next. Let me get around here a little bit. So we have this part here, which is the front. Now what we have to do is sand it, both pieces. We need to sand this edge here all around, and then also the other part of the wheel, the back side of the wheel. So what you got to do now is sand it all around just to make it kind of smooth, nothing special. And then we're going to work from that and assemble these two pieces together. Okay, now the next step to do here is you're going to need to cut 8" by 8", 3/4 inch. Drill a 1/4 inch hole in the center. Then this is going to be the bearing support. Then just take any bolt that you have and put it here, and then into the other hole in the middle of the wheel that's already there. Now, this gets glued to the back of the wheel. You need at least 4 screws on the 4 sides here. Then what you have to do after you glue that in, put the screws in, and then put a nut in the washer on the other side of the bolt, and that'll squash this whole piece together with the glue. Then what you got to do is you got to cut 4 pieces, 20 inches long, 1.5 inches wide, and just on one end I 45'd it, because these are going to be the wheel support from the bearing side, and these are going to get screwed down and glued on the 4 different sides like this. There's a total of 4.
The outside temperature
doesn't matter.
43 degrees.
Just put all 4 of them around with the 45 towards the outside. Now I'm going to go ahead and screw all these down and glue them, and then we'll come back for the next step. Okay guys, when you get the this all glued down, these braces, this is what it's going to look like. Don't forget, when you do put this part together, to check to be sure that it's square. And over here I actually added 2 screws on each corner, only because of the stress that's going to be back here. Because when the Skunk goes into galloping mode, which my Lulu does, major stress is right in this area, so you have to be sure you have all of this glued down and screwed down. So that's it for this part. We'll be back. Okay, what we got to do now is cut 4 pieces of wood 12 inches long, 1.5 inches wide, 3/4 thick, and mount them in 4 roughly equal spots. Use 2 screws here Right now I only have one. And be sure that it's level. Put it on a good surface where you can adjust this before you put the second screw in, and put the 4 pieces in and level it, because this will be turned over on top of the back part of the wheel, and that'll allow us to center everything up so that we can put the floor in, which will be the next step. And we'll be back. Okay, now we'll flip this front rim over and space these spacers on the outside of the back part. And you want this to be flush with here, so what you do is you have this on a flat surface, and you can lift this up and put a 3/4 inch board underneath, which will match the braces that we put on earlier. And you do the same thing, put a piece of scrap wood in the 4 locations, line it up, and now you got to put 2 more screws in each one of these here, and that'll make it nice and sturdy so that we can put the floor in, which is the next thing we have to do is put the floor in, and I'll show you how to do that in the next part.